Nigeria continues to face significant security challenges with recent incidents that we're seeing in kidnapping, attacks on communities, and ongoing insurgent activities, raising fresh concerns about the safety of lives and property. The recent abduction of students in Oyo State has once again brought the issue of school security and the effectiveness of rescue operations into sharp focus. Security agencies now intensify efforts to secure the release of these victims. We saw 1,000 forest guards that have been promised by the federal government, and they're also promising to prevent further attacks. Questions are now being asked about the role of intelligence gathering, community participation, and the flow of information during security emergencies. There are also growing concerns about how social media are being used during kidnapping incidents, particularly the impact of unverified report, speculation, and the circulation of sensitive information that could affect ongoing operations. Tonight, we examine the state of security in our country, the way forward, the government's response to emerging threats, the capacity of our force to be able to deal with this situation, your role and my role, and the responsibility of everyone in the public in times of crisis, and what more can be done to support efforts aimed at protecting lives and restoring public confidence. I'm joined tonight on this conversation by a retired group captain, Sadiq Shehu, a security and public affairs analyst. Thanks so much indeed for your time tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Sean. Good evening, viewers.
Thank you so much. It's a difficult moment for our country, isn't it?
Very.
And things are escalating. Did you ever imagine that what we saw escalating in the north central, in the north east and north western region of the country would swiftly had moved to the southwestern region of the country?
There is some surprise on that, but at the same time also there is no surprise. Because initially, we have this tendency of geolocating these security incidents to the northern part of the country because of so many indices. But what we should realize is that when pressure becomes so much on one part of the country, the bad guys are likely to also seek areas where they think they are going to get shelter. So in that aspect, it is not surprising to see that what we used to think was a northwestern or north central problem is now gradually becoming also an all-nation problem. So what does it mean? It means, just like you said in the foreground, that security concerns everybody. If security, situation affects one part of the country, there's no any other country that can say it is completely sheltered away from that. And even at the international level, that's why you see concerted efforts to fight terrorism. Even countries that are not really experiencing terrorism, they try to contribute to the fight against international terrorism because in one way or the other, you are going to be affected. Even if not on your territory, your citizens may travel to another country and then a place is bombed and then you lose your leaders or you lose your citizens. So that is what we are seeing, really.
So in this sense, it does look like our forces are losing grip.
Well, counterterrorism or counterinsurgency operation is not a sprint race, it's a marathon. And along the way, even though ideally as citizens we want to see success, 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 but periodically you will see some reversals. What is important, however, is to ensure that the successes outnumber the reversals we are having. But unfortunately, from the end of last year to now, it will look like as if in the northeast, the Boko Haram or ISWAP, as we used to know them, they have become more emboldened. Also in the hinterlands, north central, northwest, and even now southwest, we are seeing other, related criminal activities. Whether we call them, opinions differ. Some believe they are also terrorists. Some believe they are Boko Haram strain into there. But in my own thinking, I think it's a different kind of threat we're facing there. It's another different group that we're looking at.
So I was going to ask you, and I would like you to do a dialectal and a critical strategic analysis of the nuances of some and the traits of some of these terrorists that are operating down south. You look at the way and manner, their modus operandi, and I can describe to you how they carried out the Oyo attack, very similar to the manner in which Boko Haram will attack the Dapchi, the Chibok school incident, where they go into the community, they try to subdue the community security or protection or defense, and go for the victims, get the student, get teachers, and in mass take them out. And this is something that looks like what we have seen before, and they go like that and take them into their hideout. So there is a similarity in tendency. What does this look like to you? Is it an ISWAP kind of orientation, or a modus operandi, or a Boko Haram modus operandi, or Al-Shabaab modus operandi? Which of these sects on this group are usually behaving in this manner?
Well, just like military is an international profession, that's to say an officer in Nigeria may go to China from a course and borrow something from what the Chinese military is doing. Unfortunately, insurgents, terrorists, they also share modus operandi. They share capacity, they share skills. Even if one group is religiously inclined, while the other is, criminally inclined, they could come together. As far back as 2012, if I remember, when I was in Mali, there were reports that Boko Haram members from Nigeria have traveled as far as Mali to support the, the insurgents that are there. So when you see this, and again, if we take back from when Boko Haram started, they didn't have the access to how to manufacture IEDs. It was ISWAP and ISIS that came and taught them that. So sometimes modus operandi among these groups can really transfer from one border to another. They have this loose cooperation. They may not be fighting on the same, ideology or on the same objective. Some may be looking for a country. Some they think it's a misplaced ideology. Some is purely criminal. They just want money. But when it comes, they can interact. They can exchange this and that. So these tactics and modus operandi, they cross from one border to another and from one group to another.
Give us an idea, because in my years of trying to probe insecurity situation in the country, and I physically as a reporter gone on the ground, went to Chibok, went to Adamawa, went on the ground in Maiduguri, followed civilian JTF, followed the military to look at what exactly is going on in the battlefront. And there are tendencies that military operatives will tell you that the reasons why some of these insurgents are difficult to track down is because of where they embed themselves and how they bury themselves and hide. Sometimes hiding within the civilian population, sometimes in their case, and that's why the very popular forest in of the borders of Borno State and the borders of Nigeria, those who it carried a lot of myth, and those who are wondering what exactly is this forest, Sambisa forest, what exactly is this forest all about? A lot of people didn't know. I took a shot over Sambisa forest at the time to show how large and thick the vegetation is, and I'm imagining that this thick vegetation used to be an arboring about these people. But do they have similar tendency that would have allowed them, because what they did in the case of Borno, Yola, Adamawa, and Yobe states at the time, in the early stages, is that they take these people and put them in all of these places. Do they have those kind of environmental arbor to be able to keep this large number of people?
Yes, such on-government terrain helps the the insurgents, because when you have thick forest, when you have seasonal rivers, because sometimes when the rivers swell up, even our own forces cannot reach where these people are. So terrain is one of the complicating aspects of fight against bandits or against Boko Haram. And they being local, to be honest, they have mastered the terrain. They know the seasonal changes. In some areas, like even hinterland, like Niger State, if you ask the locals there, they will tell you that during rainy season, when the rivers are swollen, they have some respite from the attack of bandits. But as soon as the rivers, get dry or during the dry season, you see a lot of attacks on villages, you see attacks on schools. So terrain is one area that can complicate. And despite the fact the mobility assets that are available to our armed forces sometimes are not enough for them to access the hinterland of these areas. But above all, again, like you pointed out, sometimes people talk about technology. Yes, technology has a point in place. But when you have these massive areas that are thickly forested, that are inaccessible, the only thing that will make Boko Haram or any bandit or any bad doer not to come back to that place is constant presence of security personnel there. With due respect, sometimes if you go to the villages, sometimes there's not even a police station there for hundreds of kilometers. So they're the people there, the bandits, knowing that that is the area, they know they can attack at will. Before support will come, it will take a long time. Again, because of the terrain that you said, because of the kind of mobility. But having said that, we have been complaining of this mobility, of this access. What is the solution? We have complained, at least about 15, 16 years we have been doing this. So what are the solutions? The solutions are
response time.
Response time. You will increase response time by placing units, whether they are police units, whether police in regular intervals.
And you've served in the air unit of the Nigerian military.
I served in the Nigerian Air Force, yes.
Sir?
Yes, I served in the Nigerian Air Force.
Yeah, so you understand what it means, how we can reckon, how we can move, how we can mobilize, and how we can have standby force in case of emergencies like these. For us to be able to cover largely part of Nigeria, it's going to be a lot of effort, isn't it?
It is, both in terms of equipment, both in terms of personnel, which we don't have. As we are talking now, I don't think the whole security agencies in Nigeria have a total strength of 1 million. Now, when you are talking about the size of Nigeria, the population to be protected, the difficulty of the terrain, definitely, again, this is the problem. We have understood that we are undermanned. We don't have enough men. What we have been talking about, we cannot be talking for 15 years that we don't have enough security forces, and then we didn't do anything. You just see episodic presidents say at 10,000. Army say they will recruit 3,000.
The federal government said it's going to send 1,000 forest guard to Oyo. The president made similar announcement in Kwara. And you wonder, why do we make these decisions when these kind of things happen? What in your own mind do you think would have been the safeguard when these kind of things happen? And when it happened in Plateau, the president said, never again will it happen, and these things keep happening.
With due respect to Mr. President, what you pointed, going to Oyo after the event has happened and say, I'm deploying 1,000
forest guards,
is a knee-jerk approach. What we needed to do, we should have known. I said we are 16 years into this thing now. I don't think there's any government, even before this government, that didn't agree. Even a Kekena driver agrees that we don't have enough soldiers, we don't have enough policemen, we don't have other auxiliary agencies. So why is it for a country of 200 million, the current, when you take the security publications, they will tell you, they look at people that are military age. About 60% of Nigeria's population is of military age. And people are looking for work. So you will wonder, why is it we are not doing recruitment, in tandem with the security situation?
So the number, it causes also inefficiency.
It causes inefficiency because...
What about technology? Because look, there are those who say technology is also a major factor.
It is.
Can we even in real time, because it takes several hours before the information about some of these abductions get out there. Before security operatives get to know, it takes several hours. By which time, these terrorists would have transported these people. And
in fact,
there are those who know our satellite capabilities.
I normally
that takes a 4-hour orbiting before you can get another immediate information about satellite, actual satellite presence.
And we don't have satellites, that.
And that's
we
a
don't
problem.
Have satellites. So even the Americans, I think they are back now. But at the time, they stopped giving us the satellite images for their own reasons, which I will not want to go into this. And they were giving us satellite imagery up to 2017. Then they stopped for their own reasons. Now it's probably they have come out. But the point I am making, you see, when we talk about this technology, let's even start from simple things. If you have a group of policemen, or you have a group of soldiers, and they don't have secure means of communication, they are relying on normal, phones to communicate, then you have a problem. We must agree that while technology is very important, we are not yet a high-tech country for that matter. So we should even start with the simple things. Ensure that this unit that is here is connected by secure means of communication. Like we saw during the unfortunate loss of this general that was caught up and then killed later. He was using his phone, and that phone was intercepted. So you see, these are some of the issues we should even be looking at. When we say we are not in the stage where we can talk of satellite imagery, maybe in the next generation, but certainly that not now. But even simple things, communications, mobility, assets for our armed forces, numbers. Because again, where I don't want to put too much emphasis of technology in a country that's not technologically high, what is the problem with the local man in Zamfara or in Adamawa or even in this Oyo state? Is to ensure that if there's problem in his area, within 2-3 kilometers, there is a police unit, or there's a military unit, or there's a civil defense unit that he can this thing. As long as you don't have that, that person will leave his area. He will leave his farm, he will leave his house, he will leave his livelihood and move. And that's a problem for the country. So these are the issues that we must look at. Our older generations of officers, they tell us, when the Civil War started, Nigerian military was just a few thousands. But within 1 year, you saw a massive, recruitment that made it to beep up to close to 100,000. So why are we not doing that now?
Captain.
Sorry, please. Yeah. I will go that. And again, with due respect to the president, when he was campaigning for this thing, there was this his talk about give them Agbado, I'm going to take $1 million. So I don't understand how the president forgot that now after entering. If you just wait for something to happen and you say put 1,000 forest guard. Now, as we are talking now, I don't know the numbers, but I think there are over 20 kidnap cases, either individuals or groups. Now, are you saying wherever there is a kidnap case, you go there now and say give them 100 forest guard? It's not going to work. Such knee-jerk approach. What we need to do by now for 16 years is to identify, and that's why the issue of the audit that you came. When we said audit, I don't look at it as audit only about money. Audit about equipment. With due respect to the senators that raised this issue, I give them credit. If you are a senator, oversighting the army, and you are going to Monguno and they say there's a battalion there, you need to know, for example, that in the battalion you are expecting 700 and 800 officers and men. If it is an infantry motorized battalion, you want to see APCs of about 200 plus in that place. So this is what will give you the audit. Now, when you go and you check these things, now you know whether that battalion is acting as per strength or is acting under strength. It's not even about audit. But the problem is that we have not done that. We have not set up a committee or a think tank that will organize for the size of Nigeria, for the security problems we are having. What should be the optimal size of our military? What should be the optimal size of our police? Then you bring a yearly rolling plan of how you will be, beefing up these numbers, not just go to Oyo and say, give them 100. Now, as you can see, being Nigeria, what it is, as soon as the president said that, the people in Borno, who also have students that are abducted, they said, why is our own also 100 forest guard? So it's not going to work. It's something that should be planned. Yeah, that's what countries do.
And for a moment, because before we take our break, there are those who will say President Bola Tinubu was quick to make tax reforms of years, several years, and he thought that was important to change revenue and balance the equation in terms of monetary policy and arrangement and system in Nigeria. If the president is audacious enough to make that kind of decision, where is the audacity to be able to make drastic reforms in the security? How difficult could that be?
It's just political will. Because under a democracy, the president is the commander-in-chief. The legislators, he also shares this responsibility with the legislators. With due respect, I have the senator from Niger saying the president should ask the military. They have a role as well. To be honest with you, if you ask me what shocks me from this exchange raised by Senator Oshimole is that I am realizing that for all this while, they are not oversighting the defense sector. That's just what I take.
So it's a failure of the lawmakers.
It's a failure of the lawmakers.
Because it's their job to oversight them.
And
he said it's a failure of the leadership of the Senate if they say who recalled these personnel. Because at the time that the terrorists came into the community, the military was said to have been on the ground. Shortly before that happened, there was a recall of the troops. And who did it? And they've been investigating it. And the Senate said they wanted to get to the bottom of it. And this has happened.
If you ask me as a retired military officer, what I see, this debate just showed us is a maturity of system. Our democracy has not matured. If not, for legislature to ask about defense spending or security spending is not something new in advanced democracies. So the only thing we can say is that when we say check what a sector has spent, it does not automatically mean that something wrong has been done. It is issue of seeing efficiency. How is the money spent? Is it put in the proper place? It is also an issue of increasing the effectiveness on the issue. But at the same time, what I will agree, when you are oversighting security agencies, there is issue of secrecy on some things that have purely to do with operations. For example, you can't go ask as commander that in Oyona that you are trying to serve the students, how many troops do you have there? You don't do that, because that will be operational security. You are breaching. That can be useful. But issues like, what is the strength of your forces overall? What kind of mobility assets do you have? How many, do people have radio for communication, secure communication? All these are issues that are within the ken of a legislature. Okay. And if a legislator asks that questions, with due respect, he should be giving those answers.
All right. We're going to break. But when we come back, I'd like you to help me answer. How do we balance public interest and national security? And I understand that from some of those guys that I'm speaking with on the inside, I'm hearing that we were this close to recovering some of those Oyo abductees, but there were some social media and some public information that triggered and alerted the terrorists, which allowed it to slip. Those are some of the information. But where do we come in as community people, as citizens, and social media, media? How do we handle it such that when this kind of emergencies happen, how responsible or responsibly can we act? But that's going to be after the break. Across the country, Nigerians are demanding stronger and more decisive action against terrorism, banditry, and kidnapping as attacks continue to threaten lives and livelihoods. Is the current security strategy delivering the desired result? And what more can be done to defeat the perpetrators of violence? We examine the growing cause for tougher action and the path to lasting security when our conversation with retired Group Captain Civic continues. Is there hope or despair for us? Thanks so much, everyone. We're still discussing the state of insecurity in Nigeria. I mean, it's a growing public concern over terrorism, banditry, kidnappings, and attacks on communities across the country, with many Nigerians calling for stronger and more decisive action against criminal groups. We've been examining these with a retired military officer who served in the Nigerian Air Force, retired Group Captain Sadiq Shehu. Many thanks for your time tonight. Let's look at rescue effort. And my hopes and my prayer is that tonight, these 40+ people that have been taken in Oyo State will get back to their family and get home. I can imagine the anguish, the pain they're going to in Omugo in Kwara State, in parts of Kainji, in parts of Kayama, in parts of Patigi. There are communities in Rekbodo, in Faludun local government area of Kwara State where these terrorists have also invaded. There are hopes that some of those who have been taken will return home. But how difficult is it to manage, especially from troops and the military or security personnel? How difficult is it to manage recovery or rescue operations?
To be honest with you, hostage rescue operation is one of the most complex and most difficult operations, because once a kidnapper, has gotten hold of the people in his place, of his own choosing, especially in this case where you're talking of children and possibly women, it is very difficult for the person, trying to rescue these people, because you are balancing two things. The objective of such an operation, or like the mistake some people are doing, is not actually killing the kidnappers. The main objective, the primary objective, is saving those children alive in good health.
It's rescue.
That is the second one.
Safe rescue.
Safe rescue is the first objective. Second objective, then, if possible, you can kill the bad guys or apprehend them with a view of prosecution. So this needs to be very, very, very well understood. So sometimes this is an operation that doesn't really need only bravery or macho, or kind of what we call in the military term, is not combatancy that is required. It is something that you have to analyze different factors. So many things will complicate a rescue operation.
So they've buried themselves You're looking for these people,
Yes.
and they know you are looking for them.
Definitely.
And they know that if they come with force, they know that the soft targets are going to be taken.
Exactly. The presence of the children gives them a certain kind of,
comfort.
assurance that,
and defense.
you have to think, any professional military will have to think with what level of force, if at all. So what I want people to understand, whenever there's a rescue, combative or kinetic hostile recruitment is not the only option. So sometimes we will not blame government when they say government is negotiating. Negotiating does many things. Sometimes it even buys time. Sometimes it gives you time to think of activities. Because, like I said, so many things can complicate. Where are they keeping the children? Is it an open place? Is it in a closed place? Are they in one group? Are they scattered? The person doing the rescue will have to, even the history of the kidnappers themselves. There are kidnap groups that when you come near, they can start massacring, firing, or even killing slaughtering the children.
Because we understand that the Oyo situation, some of these people are already asking for ransom, and the government is saying we're not going to pay ransom. But you have said some of the reason why the government get the short end of the stick, because they want to get these people back home, and they have to cave in sometimes for the lives of these people, because we say we're a country that do not negotiate with terrorists. But these are the reason why that negotiation happens sometimes, isn't it?
Yes. So, but again, sometimes in negotiation, that's why we have professional negotiators. Sometimes you go for low-hanging fruits. You don't maybe start, for example, to release the children. That may not be. But you could start with, out of the children, there are some that are 6 years or 7 years. I'm just speculating, I don't know. Can you please release those very young ones? If there's a woman that is pregnant, can you please release her? In exchange, we're even ready to supply food to you and medication if somebody is sick. These are sometimes the kind of things that you... But while you are doing that, you are also preparing. If the situation proves amenable to storm the place and go. But like I said, storming the place is a result of the circumstances. Where are the children kept? Are they in one place? Are they in a closed environment? Are they in an open environment? What is the history of the group that has even done the kidnapping? Is it the hardened ones that can start killing? So all this will go into calculation. But again, I like the fact that the government, refused to pay ransom. Even again in negotiation, there are some kind of concessions you will agree to, and there are some that you will not agree to. Like, for example, release the younger ones. Let's give you food, let's give you food. But when they say they want arms, or they want ammunition, or they want large money, the government should not succumb to that. Because, of course, it is right to even say that when you do that, you are incentivizing the next kidnap and the next abduction.
It brings me to public sensitization, public engagement. And yesterday, I was a bit emotional when I was asking Nigerians to unite against terror, because we need to come together as a people. Government, we might blame government, blame security, blame this, blame that, but at the end of the day, what should we do as a citizen? Should we throw our hands in the air and say, oh, we've lost it? But the big question here, and I've seen situation, right, where in my training on reporting security, one of the fuel to these insurgents behaving the way they behave, when they slaughter some of the victims, when they kill them, and you help them to, they want publicity.
Definitely.
When they come out to say we are responsible, and when that happens, it gives them publicity. It gives them a leverage to ask for what they want, and the popularity they get because of the attack. Once they get it, their sponsors know that they're working. And there are those who will say, how do you balance it? People need to know. But then to what extent can you give the information? Now, the social media age is here, and a lot of information flies around. How do we balance information in the age of social media such that the lives of innocent people who are in captivity is not jeopardized and rescue operation is not messed up?
Yes. Like I said, hostage rescue is one of the most complex and premature divulging of operational information, maybe through movements, what of negotiation is going, can jeopardize further the success of that operation. So what I will encourage citizens to do, we are all members of WhatsApp group. You pointed to one. Please do not share unverified information. I am not in position, to agree whether it is true what you said about operation.
It was a privileged information.
Yes. But we shouldn't dismiss it.
Slipping around and trying to find information. I was being told that there were some actions that were being taken and it was being positive. But for some reason, some social media or whatever activities triggered, and I mean,
okay. If you tell,
alarmed.
No,
those are some of the information.
Yes, we shouldn't throw that information.
Verification.
But there are lessons to be learned there. If you say some operational information has gotten to some citizens and the citizens have posted it, now you have to trace the source of the leak. With due respect, with also utmost respect for what the security agencies are doing, if you have an operation you are planning, an aspect of it leaked, logically I would think that the leakage came from the original leak came from the security. So you have to check back. It's even a lesson we'll learn. However, on the part of the citizen who got hold of that information, whatever the source is, you have a responsibility not to share that information. You have a responsibility not to share information that is verified. If you check since this abduction, there are so many stories going there. Some people are even far away from Oyo, but they will be telling you what is happening. So it is not good. Then finally, you talked about issues of what can actually citizens do to help this situation. I would like to go through like 4 or 5 points that I think a responsible citizen should do to help this. There is this misconception that security is only for security agencies. We continue saying security is overseas business. In the whole of the security sector, like I said, probably maybe we have less than 1 million people. We're a country of over 200 million people. So logically, you should understand what 1 million people in uniform, what they are 2 times 4 million, that's 2 million eyes, 2 million ears. What those ears can see is not the same as what 200 million people can see. So definitely, the citizens in Nigeria, they have more ears on the ground, they have more eyes on the ground than the security agencies. So the best important aspect of security is to get the confidence of the citizens to be able to give you communication. So what a responsible citizen should be the eyes and the ears of the security agencies, to support them as much as he can, to stop spreading rumors, to also talk, because these people, they live among us. With due respect, we all have our identities, either religious, either ethnic, either regional. You should not allow that identity you share with somebody who is breaking the law to be a barrier to you reporting what he is doing bad. You should look at him as an enemy of even you and an enemy of the whole country. People in the village, for example, when people have, when terrorists have kidnappers, they will go to them. There's one picture now of this one APC chairman in Sokoto, or this that was caught. You will see that in the picture, they are showing large supplies of medicine they brought for him. What am I saying here? He must have bought that medicine from the nearby village. If somebody is having hostages inside a village, he will look for food. He will look for medicine. So people in the village, if they are sensitized, you will look for supplies. When you see some, and in the village, it is even easier. If me and you are living in the same village, I know that you normally buy tomatoes of 200 naira every day. The day you come and say you want to buy 1,000, and I know Shewun's wife didn't give birth, he's not having a new wife, so that should trigger that something is happening. If we sensitize our citizens, this information will go to the appropriate authorities and something will be done. However, it takes 2 hands to shake. On the side of the government must build trust with the citizens. Up to now, unfortunately, we still have issues of even road traffic accident. You see somebody has an accident, you take him to hospital, police will arrest you. So the next time you see somebody needing blood transfusion, you will just pass because you have learned your lesson. So trust must come also from the government. Right. And the government must be sensitive, because most of when I listen to some of this things, they will say we reported, nothing was done. It's possible something was done, but you didn't give feedback to the villager who gave you. You also have to incentivize the people in some countries. People that give this thing, I always say that when you watch this channel, investigation channel, 99% of cases that are being cracked by the police is because of somebody volunteered information. But that trust is missing. That trust is missing.
Group Captain Sadiq Shehu, a retired Air Force military officer. Thank you so much indeed for your time tonight, and I appreciate it.
It's a pleasure.
Well, we cannot live in fear as a people. Despair is not going to be the language that we are going to hold on to. Hope is going to be our language, wherever political party that is using that slogan, but it's more resonant now, because that's what we need. We need to be hopeful for those who are in captivity, for the communities that are oppressed and depressed because of these circumstances. We are all affected, and we need to stand strong as a people. And my charge again tonight to all of you, wherever you may be watching, different political leanings, different religion, ethnic divisions. We need to stand united against terror. Hashtag unite against terror. And that's how we end the program tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sean Wakimale. God bless Nigeria.